Hello everyone, welcome to the Sports Basement. I'm Zach here with Ronoldy, and earlier, as you all know, that I did the show with Rahman because Ronoldy wasn't around, and now, Ronoldy, instead of doing his own thing, I figured I'd help him out a little bit, just give my inside input with him, and, just kind of debate on the games a little bit and get his point of view. I will be we'll be going down the list, just like the regular sports talk. I will be saying who I picked and, giving why. My reason might not be the same, it's just because, a little time has passed and I might be different. So, yeah, let's get started. First game is tonight in about an hour. We got the Chargers and the Broncos. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Broncos.
You are going to go with the Broncos?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos in this one. I was having a little toss-up, didn't really know who I wanted to pick. But Phillip Rivers, historically against Peyton Manning, he just plays below average for some reason. He just plays like a below average quarterback. And Peyton Manning always is Peyton Manning, no matter who he plays against, unless he's playing against the Patriots. But yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Broncos and Peyton Manning.
The reason I said was because, well, one, I just think Peyton Manning's just playing way too well. And two, just the running back troubles, I think. I think Brandon Oliver, he needs to have a big game in order for them to win this one. If he doesn't, then I think they're a little screwed here. Because I think the number one priority that the Broncos are going to have to do is shut down Antonio Gates. That's Phillip Rivers' number
that's
one
going to
guy.
be huge. That's going to be that's going to be tough to do. Phillip Rivers is actually playing really well this season. I'm actually surprised that I'm actually going with Surprised that I'm going with the Chargers today. I mean, with the Broncos today over Phillip Rivers. But besides that, let's go to the next game.
Next game, we got the Lions and the Falcons. Now, this is weird because they're in London and they're playing at 9:30 in the morning.
Oh, this is the 9:30 in the morning London game.
It's going to be 3:30.
Wow, this is going to be
2:30.
This is something I've been waiting for. I actually was thinking about it last week. I was thinking in my head, I was like, when are we going to see this 9:30 morning game? And now we finally get it. I'm actually really excited to see this. No, it was supposed to be like around 9 to 10, but I guess it's going to be at 9. I'm very interested to see this, just to see how like people react to actually watching a game in the morning. But besides,
I want to see how the Lions and the Falcons get used to playing this early because it's not that early.
It's not. I think their body is going to be used to it a little bit because I'm sure they practice in London for like the week now. But
pretty sure it's
going to be a little bit. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a little weird. But besides like the location of the game, not being in the United States, which is going to be awesome. I think that's cool. Good for the international ratings again. I'm going to have to go with the Lions. I just think that the Falcons are playing way below par, and the Lions should be almost undefeated if they had a good kicker. They would have beat the Bills. They would have won more games. So I'm gonna have to go with the Lions. This is gonna be an interesting matchup because I feel like that the Falcons they can be a good team, and I think they can put a little bit of pressure on the Lions. They can.
Past couple of years, we've seen a decent team against a really bad team, and it really hasn't been that great of a game. I mean, some of them were. I remember when the Dolphins, they were like 0-8, and they played the Giants, and only won like 20-13 or something like that. Actually, no, that was the Dolphins and somebody. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I think this is gonna be a better game for the English.
No. Yeah, definitely would be a better game.
I think the Lions win this one though. I just think the Lions are just playing too good of football.
Yeah, they're 5-2, and again they lost games because of their kicking situation.
Don't count the Falcons though. I mean, they have a really good offensive.
They really do.
Offensive line. That's their main.
They do have a good offense, but another problem they have is they don't stop anybody on defense, man. They don't get any stops, which is, you can't win games if you don't stop the ball. Next game,
the Rams and the Chiefs. Who do you got?
Surprise, surprise, everyone. I'm going with the Rams. They played like they were in the Super Bowl last week, and there was no way they could go out with a loss.
Right.
They did everything on special teams. They won that game through special teams. I'm not saying they're going to do that this week. I just think that they're going to build off momentum. It was a huge victory against Seattle in the division, and I think they will beat the Chiefs.
This is funny because I was saying exactly that about the Rams. How last week they did what they needed to do in order to beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Seahawks. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs simply because I just think that. I mean, I don't know if last week was just a fluke or maybe the Rams just got. True. I don't know, and I'm not sold on the Rams mainly because of the record. They're 2-4.
They're 2-4, but they play a lot of solid games. Remember against the Cowboys, they blew a huge lead, but they still came back after they lost the lead, and almost won the game, So they're definitely alive during their games. In their games, they just don't pull out the victories. But I think they're going to build up some momentum from the Seattle game.
I'm going to go with Kansas City. I just believe that they'll be the better team.
All right.
The Texans and the Titans. Who you
Texans
got?
and Titans. I heard over, like, I've been reading some news, some articles, and it looks like Zach Mettenberger is going to make his first appearance as a starting quarterback this week.
I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested to see what he's going to do. That being said, J.J. Watt is still there on the defense, and I just think that a young rookie quarterback not starting off in the beginning of the season is going to struggle against the Houston defense, even though they're a little weak in the secondary position. Besides Jonathan Joseph,
I think that's the only reason why they're losing games. Is because they're
pretty
throwing
much
the ball down the field.
you can throw. Did you see the way
last week?
Did you see the Pittsburgh
24
Steelers
points in 3 minutes?
They were just throwing all
They can't
over
be that
them.
great of a defense.
Not only that, Ryan Fitzpatrick struggles with keeping the ball
He's not elite.
on their side.
I won't go on the same rant as I did earlier about Ryan Fitzpatrick, but all I'm saying is he's not elite. He's
an average quarterback that does way too much in the pocket when he forces a lot of balls. That being said, I'm still going to go with the Texans just because the rookie quarterback, this is the third quarterback for the Titans this year. Got to go with the Houston Texans.
I went with the Titans. I'm going to go with the Titans again, simply because I just think that Mettenberg's going to have a good game, a good debut. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Next game, we got the Vikings and the Buccaneers. I'm going to start off by saying the Buccaneers. I picked the Buccaneers earlier, simply because I just like the fact. I just like this matchup. I think the Buccaneers, they have a little bit of a rough season so far, but I think that they'll pull it together and they'll beat the Vikings in Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers as well. I just think this is a pretty evenly matched two teams right here. I think that the Vikings, they struggle at times, and then other times they look good. They're 2-5. The Buccaneers are 1-5. But the quarterback play there on both teams are a little sketchy, man. They don't. Mike Glennon's he's playing actually really well, but at times he struggles. And it's kind of hard to pick who's going to win here, but I'm going to go with the Buccaneers because I feel like Teddy Bridgewater struggles more than Glennon.
Next game, Seahawks-Panthers. I got the Seahawks. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Yeah?
Because I feel like the Panthers got embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, and they need a win badly. And they didn't get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. They tied 1 week, and then they got embarrassed by the Packers. And yes, Seattle, and they're going to play great defense. But the Panthers need this win more than Seattle Seahawks do.
Interesting matchup coming up. The Ravens and the Bengals. I picked the Ravens simply because they've just been playing great football. I think their offense has been phenomenal, except for that 1 week against the Colts where they are completely shut down. That's why I'm a little on the edge about the Ravens, but the same thing about the Bengals too, because the Bengals also, they got shut out by the Colts last week.
Right.
I'm not going to pick the Bengals who got shut out last week if they're playing the Ravens who've been scoring 35 points.
I'm here, and before earlier in the season, the Bengals were 4-0. They looked like the best team in the NFL, complete.
They've only won 3 games.
They only won 3 games. Oh, they were 3-0. Yeah, you're right. They were 3-0. Then they had a bye week. Then they played against New England and lost.
Yeah.
And then from there on, they just haven't been the same team. Cincinnati's looked like Cincinnati. You know, they just They look good. They can try to convince you, and they just play terribly. But the Ravens, on the other hand, they're playing great football. Offensively, they get stops defensively. They did struggle against the Colts like 2 weeks ago, roughly, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, when they played against the Colts. But they still almost won that game. They started driving back, and at the end of the game, they started playing good football.
Did you see that hit on Giovanni Bernard?
Yes, I did. It was pretty. I'm just saying, the Colts we'll get to the Colts later, but they're just playing great football. But the Ravens, I think Joe Flacco's he's finding his groove. He's in his groove, and they're gonna win this game. I got the Ravens.
Before you go to bed tonight, say a prayer for Giovanni Bernard because he got rocked.
He definitely did.
All right, next game, Dolphins-Jaguars. I got the Fins. Who you got?
Ooh, Dolphins-Jaguars. Jaguars finally getting their first win, but the Dolphins are a better team than them. It's just point blank. Nothing I really have to say on this one.
Bears-Patriots. I got the Pats.
Bears-Patriots. I want to go with the Bears so bad just because I hate the Patriots so much. The Patriots struggled against the Jets last week. They look good, but they didn't look convincing. But Tom Brady's still Tom Brady. And Jay Cutler is not playing like the Jay Cutler we want to see, that we all know and love as a good quarterback that gets the ball where it needs to go. He's been struggling as of late. Brandon Marshall called him out last week, actually. And I just think that it's going to be frustrating for him again. I'm going to go with the Patriots.
It's funny because Rahman was saying that the sleeper team is still the Saints. I think it's the Bears, the sleeper team this year.
You know what? Surprisingly, I agree with you more than I do Rahman on the sleeper team being the Bears versus who does he think?
The Pats.
The Saints versus the Saints being the sleeper team. Being the sleeper team. I don't think the Saints are a sleeper team because they can't stop a nosebleed, for crying out loud, on defense. Man, they let games go in the last seconds more than any team in the NFL so far. The Bears, They struggle, but they still have a great offense, and they're struggling in the secondary. That's their problem.
The Bears or the Dolphins. I wonder too.
Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are a sleeper team. I think the Dolphins are a team that they're good enough. Everybody knows they're good. They just don't finish.
Why they're a sleeper team.
I guess I would say
because they're good. You know, some
I would
games
say
are
I
lights
would
out,
say
other
the
games are
Bills.
not.
I would say the Bills are actually the sleeper team in the AFC. Yeah, man. They surprise a lot of people by winning games.
Speaking of the Bills coming up, the Bills and the Jets.
Bills and the
1
Jets.
o'clock.
This is actually going to be. I know you guys know that I'm going to pick the Jets. Yes, I'm going to pick the Jets, but I'm going to pick the Jets because Percy Harvin is going to add a new spark. Yes, he's not going to play every snap. Let's get real. He's just now familiarizing himself with the offense, but Jeremy Curley did get a new contract. This is going to boost his confidence. He will try to get open more because he feels like he has to. He's got paid for it. Jets will win this game. Who do you have?
I got the Bills. I just think that Kyle Orton has been a phenomenal quarterback so far
he definitely
this
has
year.
been.
Him, you know, Kyle Orton to Sammy Watkins, that really works. So I think it's gonna be a huge impact in this game.
Nice.
One pivotal matchup, I believe, is
Yes.
Eric's boys versus the Cardinals, the Eagles versus the Cardinals. I said the Eagles because I think, well, what I said was it all comes down to the Eagles defense versus the Cardinals offense. I crossed out the Eagles offense and the Cardinals defense because they're both two great, different sides of the ball that I think are going to cancel each other out.
I think
when it comes down to the Eagles defense and the Cardinals offense, I think the Eagles defense is just going to show up, and I think that's what's going to get it because Eagles offense, Cardinals defense, those are the better parts of those teams, and they're going to cancel each other out.
This is going to be one of those games where you look back and you say these two teams could meet up again later in the season in the NFC Championship because they're just playing great football. But I think this game comes down to not really the defense, but somewhat the Eagles' defense versus the Cardinals' offense, because Carson Palmer is going to be the deciding factor, whether they win or lose. If he plays well, they will win. If he plays bad, they will lose. And I think he's going to play poorly. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
All right, Raiders-Browns. I really not much to say about this game. I'm going to go with the Browns.
So the Browns let one team get away with their first win, and I don't think it's going to happen again. So I'm going to go with the Browns. All
right, we got the Colts and the Steelers. Yeah, you thought I forgot about that one too. You're looking down my phone going, who's going to forget?
Yeah, Colts and Steelers.
Colts and Steelers.
I love this matchup, and most people don't because they think the Steelers are like a washed-up team. They barely win games, but they got turnovers last week on Monday against Houston. They scored. They threw the ball well.
But you're not playing Ryan Fitzpatrick. You're playing the number one quarterback, if I may, the number one quarterback in the NFL, Andrew Luck. 19 touchdowns, over 2,000 yards.
Statistically, yes, he's the number one quarterback.
6 games this year, he's thrown for over 300 yards.
Statistically, yes, he's the number one quarterback. Exactly. But I still don't think he's the number one quarterback yet in the NFL. He's close, but he's not there yet. But Andrew Luck is playing great football. I don't think that the Steelers are playing that great of football on defense. They look great against a terrible offense in Houston, and I don't think they're going to shine the same way against the great offense with the Colts. I'm going to pick Andrew Luck and the Colts in this one.
I'm going to go with the Colts, too. I think their defense has been top-notch this year. I mean, a lot of people like to call it a weak-ass defense.
Oh, no way.
It hasn't been a weak-ass defense.
Their defense is number one on third down conversion. That's where the defense makes their money.
Absolutely.
Third down and 3, third down and 2, who gets the stop? The Colts defense every time. You got to put your money on the defense, and that is where you win games and championships.
I'm going with the Colts. No doubt about it.
Same here.
8 o'clock Sunday night game, the Packers and the Saints. I'm going to go with the Packers. I just think that Aaron Rodgers and that offense is just too much for that Saints defense. It's going to be. They could easily score 60 points in this game, I believe. I think Rob Ryan will be fired after this year.
You know what? That statement about Rob Ryan is going to be true if they don't give him some safety help or some corners or something. He's just like his brother, Rex, in New York. They are struggling when it comes to, getting secondary help. They have no guys to play well in the secondary. That being said, the Packers they just throw the ball. Aaron Rodgers is crazy with his arm. The guy completes more passes than almost anybody in the league. You got to go with Rodgers. He's hot. The Packers are hot. They're looking good. They feel good. Packers.
All right, got a Monday night game, which I think is going to be a better game than I think people think. The Redskins and the Cowboys. All right, before you say anything, Colt McCoy's making a comeback. I'm a huge Texas fan. Texas Longhorns for life. I've watched Colt McCoy. I saw him win the Big 12 championship. He's going back to the stadium. He won the Big 12 championship, and I think he gets the win against the Cowboys. I think he's the man.
That being said, Colt McCoy played really well last week when he got into the game. He was 11 for 12. He threw a touchdown. That was a deciding factor in the game. But
I think that was more Pierre Garçon, though.
yeah. I guess you could say that. But still, who threw the ball to him? I know Pierre Garçon, great yards after catch, but still somebody had to throw the ball to him. Coleman Coach stepped up in the key situation. It was great.
Doesn't matter who threw the ball to him. Anybody, Alfred Morris could have thrown the ball to him. He still would have got a touchdown.
I don't care what.
He just turned around and ran.
Obviously, Kirk Cousins wasn't doing the job right.
No, Colt McCoy would. Well, yeah, Colt McCoy still would have got a touchdown. He still would have got a touchdown, but still, I believe if he would have thrown that ball, he would have got a touchdown.
That's true, but the Cowboys are playing too well. They have a great running game. They will win this game.
I don't believe so, but whatever. All right, that's it for our games, and that's it for this show. Thanks for watching. It's been another great episode of the Sports Basement with Ronoldy and Zach, and we really want to thank you guys for subscribing and viewing. We really appreciate it. Even though if you guys don't think we do, we really do. All the support we get, it's great. And we'll see you next week with all three of us.